drum and bass doesn't think it deserves nice things. Tulum is one of those places that has beautiful, luxurious venues. There were cenotes, there were jungle raves with incredible production. And why should house music get all of that?
Whatever you got, I'm gonna need you in a little bit. Feeling dignified, looking diligent. Carry the bars and camouflage, face killing shit. They be doing for the love. So noise for the DJ, please, right in the building, in the Still in community, still in continuation. To the vibe, listen up, please. Junglist family, yeah. Last record, watch out.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Ritesh. I don't like using labels about myself. Marky.
What was the genesis of the actual festival itself? Like, why is Tulum a good place to throw a drum and bass show?
Tulum is typically house music, and it's always been house music. And I started promoting drum and bass shows in 2000s, that's 23 years ago, with a very clear remit of exposing artists to fans that they might not otherwise have seen, people that were putting out really amazing music. And you know, how do you get those people in front of a crowd so that you know, if it's a crowd that's not record buyers, like how do you get them in front of the ravers? Tulum is one of those places where it has amazing parties, amazing venues, doesn't know anything about drum and bass. And one thing I've kind of felt forever is, and this is kind of a controversial statement, drum and bass doesn't think it deserves nice things. You know, it's like, oh well, we're gonna do grimy venues with toilets that suck. And no, I love a good warehouse rave. Can't see where you're going and you have a wave of bass hitting you, awesome. But I feel like the mentality that drum and bass has is that it doesn't deserve nice things. And so the whole scene thinks that way, and Tulum is one of those places that has beautiful, luxurious venues. There were cenotes, there were jungle raves with incredible production. And why should house music get all of that? Like, drum and bass should get it as well. And a lot of the artists at the festival are like, well, I've never experienced anything like this. This is the first time in my life. Like someone like Rui Ryder's like, first time in my life I've ever had this experience. Tony London Tristy's like, this is the most beautiful venue I've ever played in my life. And he's like early 60s. And to give a first time experience to the founders of the entire genre 30 years later is very special. And so drum and bass does deserve nice things, and we should embrace them.
It's interesting because that was one of the questions I had, coming here was sort of like, I knew kind of the current mystique of Tulum. I'd heard a little bit about it, and it being a trendy place, and I kind of knew it was that kind of currently that house sort of vibe and everything. Now I've been to some drum and bass parties that there are some that they'll put them in a really high-end venue, and it'll be a really upscale. But what tends to happen in those situations is like the soul gets sucked out of it, or it becomes more of a vehicle for commercialism. And so I was just interested in, for me to kind of come here and be like, to what extent does this festival stand in opposition to what's going on in Tulum as far as what people like to call the Tuluminati whole situation, but versus building culture and building the underground. And I'm just wondering, I'm sure these are some of the things that you've thought about as putting this together. I guess, how do you think it ended up turning out?
You're very right that Tulum culture is typically, how much money are you going to spend on bottles? Who's got the most Instagram followers? Do you have access to VIP? And every venue asks, okay, are you going to sell tables? Are you going to do how much space do we allocate for the VIP area? And I was like, I don't want that, because everyone is the same. And so what we kind of did with, especially the late night venue, that was gravel and trees on Wednesday, and we brought in everything from scratch. The whole production came in as just for us. And that venue typically has done huge productions. They build these they build this massive stage, and it's like 40 VIP tables, and people are spending 10 grand just to have a table and buy premium tequila or whatever. And when we were doing this, we said to the venue, there is no VIP, it's one stage. Make the comfort throughout the entire venue as if you were treating everyone like they were VIP. Let's put couches in, let's put lounge areas, let's make sure everything is comfortable, because there should be no segregation in our community. And then it's cheesy to say everyone's a VIP, they're not, everyone's the same, right? And that's where this event is very different from the typical Tulum, Miami, VIP vibe, right? And we get to do these beautiful venues without that. And I think that's really important. I'll be honest, the venues did not understand. I was like, guys, you don't know what this music is. It's gonna confuse you. You will have no idea what it's gonna feel like when you're playing this music. There's an MC hosting this. You won't get it, but please trust me. And I'm very fortunate that over 23 years of throwing shows, the artists really trust me. And typically, if they're coming to this side of the world, they need to be on a multi-day tour. It's impossible to get people to fly 10, 12, 15 hours for one show and then go home again. That doesn't happen.
So how do you make it happen this time?
Because they really believe in the concept. That relationship goes back 2 decades. And even Tony Electricity, when I asked his agent about him playing, I got told a flat no. The next day, I get yeah, actually he really wants to do it. And he came out of retirement after not playing for 2 years. And post-show last year, the agent was like, you know what, you're the one that your gig was Tony's test for whether he wanted to come back to DJing. And he loved it so much that he actually came back to the scene. And that's an amazing thing to actually be told, that you're responsible for bringing London Electricity back to drum and bass as a DJ. It's beautiful.
walk back, and they're gonna get CT, go to the back, back, let's find them, just some out the zone, you go with that phone. Keep reading the air, like I told them in the window, we got this one, bringing the calm, and even the way we're moving, there's no confusion with this position, remember this, we don't tell them how we out, kill them out. Yo, Lucas, if y'all there, say, whoa! Ready to take a deep breath. Ready to take a deep breath. What's that? What's that? Raise your hand if you don't give me the signal. Somebody give me the trigger finger. Hey, soundboy. Hey, retreat. Soundboy, surrender, retreat. Somebody tell Marky said we're bringing you the heat. Deep in the trenches. That's where you can find me. Deep dark and grimy. Back to the track. In the sky. Yada. Come on, boys. Hey. I need everybody on free and only on free to make some noise from DJ Marky all the way from Brazil, Sao Paulo. You ready? Wait. On free, I said. Ready? 1, 2, 3. To say this is a humbling experience is just beyond definition right now. All of us gathered together from around the world right here, Locus Festival, under the stars of full moon, a beautiful experience. If you're feeling what we're feeling in here right now, make some noise for that. I want to give proper thank you to Ritesh, Heather, Angie, everybody that's in the back, Renee that's been putting this whole thing together, everybody that's been taking care of y'all, making sure everybody's straight.
There's been a lot of amazing moments. What are a couple of your favorites?
When you're running around, you don't actually get to see most of the sets. It's very much you see other people who post stuff. You catch the last 10 minutes. I was very lucky to see Commander Rob Data last night. That, the first set in 20 years. It's a really humbling achievement that they decided to come out of retirement after 2 decades for this show.
There have been a lot of highs like that. A lot of tracks and albums debuted here, like mixes. You'll see them on the sometimes I'll catch a glimpse. It's like, oh, mix 3. They just finished the mix or whatever for the festival. But there's also been some challenges too. I mean, Mexico is a challenging place to throw a festival, and I know personally we've been fine. We've been really lucky. We did get our, my friend's bag did get stolen, but that was kind of our own silliness. But I noticed that you guys have been kind of bringing in shuttles and kind of moving along and changing plans and stuff like that. Talk to me a little bit about what you have to do as an organizer to go with the flow. It seems like you have to it's a dynamic process, and what's that been like this year?
Dynamic is probably an understatement. We've tried to be really proactive when someone feels that, when we get feedback that there's a lot of people that have never left their home country. They got passports for the first time in their lives as people in their 30s and 40s to come to this, which is an amazing, it's a massive compliment. But Mexico is a wonderful place. I spend so much time here. I personally feel really safe. So, there are sometimes people have an experience where they're unlucky, and that can happen anywhere in the world. But I feel incredibly safe being in. I spend 4 months a year in Tulum. But when you see that people are having problems, you're like, oh well, the taxis are price gouging, where we didn't realize it was going to be that. We actually put on free shuttles to get people home at the end of the night out of our own pockets, just so people could feel safe.
Yeah. I've definitely been shaken down. Not here. We haven't been shaken down by anyone, but it's happened to me before in Mexico, and some people have had that experience here. But it sounds like you're going to be, even after the festival, being proactive in terms of dealing with that. Is that true?
I mean, obviously not when we're not doing a gig, but it's a place where, especially Tulum, it was a tiny little town that was really for kind of people coming for a yoga retreat, and it was very chill. And very rapidly, big money has come in. It's weird. Like Tulum is its own little microcosm. It's not really Mexico. No, it's Miami prices. Drinks are $20. We've done special menus with every venue so that it's not that expensive. Well, definitely not as expensive. And it's like, you know, if you have a preconception of what Mexico is, Tulum is not going to meet that. And then suddenly you'll be unpleasantly surprised that a taxi costs $30. But if you were getting a taxi across town in New York in peak rush hour and you had surge pricing on Uber, it would probably cost more.
For this festival to be successful, what did that look like? Yeah, to what extent have you also feel like you succeeded at building the community, within the drum and bass scene here?
I mean, we're very proud of what we've achieved because 5 times an hour someone comes up to say thank you. For bringing everyone together, for people being able to see artists they've never seen in their lives, for people that would never usually play in this part of the world, but they had faith in the festival and they got on a plane. You know, Goldie was playing in Barcelona. He went to the airport directly from the club. He doesn't need to do that, but he did. So I feel like if the originators of the genre can support this, and they're not just passively supporting, they're actively supporting, and they're being so positive, I think that's a real achievement. This doesn't happen on this side.
We've been on a mission, right? Since Thursday. Some of us came in late, some of us been here earlier than that. We've been here together, rocking on, and all moments lead to right now. So look to the person to the left of you, look to the person to the right of you. I don't care if you're from the States, if you're from across seas, if you understand exactly why you're here tonight, make some noise for those people for putting Locus together.